You're welcome back. You're still watching TVC Breakfast. Now, some retired senior military officers have thrown their weight behind former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, in calling a state of emergency to tackle insecurity, including Boko Haram. Now, in his new book, Scars, Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum, Irabor says the government needs to fully confront the insurgency. Now, he argues that an emergency declaration supported by the National Assembly would mobilize all the national resources to end the war. Insecurity has continued to leave communities without basic necessities, and retired officers stress that while emergency powers are crucial, they must be paired with strategies that address the root causes of terrorism. Now, joining us in the studio for this conversation is public affairs analyst Darlington Umoru. I'm always happy to have you on the show.
Public affairs.
I'm always happy to have you on the show.
To discuss security.
Yes, I'm always happy to have you on the show.
I'm here.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I don't have a choice.
You rather be here
except that beyond being a public affairs analyst,
because the security
I'm also a security consultant.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've been at the theater. I've been to some of these areas. I've had the privilege of helping to train some security agents who had the privilege of passing through some of those classes when I actually participated actively at the presidency as a consultant.
Exactly, and that's why when it comes to security, you're the first person that we get to call. But now let's tackle this issue we're talking about here. We're seeing that they're calling on state of emergency. Mr. Darlington, this is not the first time we've had you on this table talking about insecurity in Nigeria. It's like we go on and on speaking about it, but at the end of the day, we do not see any result. Now they're saying that some reforms, you know, what are the reforms that can be put in place for terrorism? Mr. Darlington, over a period of time, we've seen that these terrorists have become very bold. The other time, there was a newspaper headline where a terrorist had said that, you know, if you kill 10 of us, 20 will come out. They make bold statements, you know, and they're not afraid. You know, we also heard that the fact that they say they also want to be negotiating. Imagine negotiating with a criminal, which is something I've always stood against. I don't know why you're smiling, but let's get into this. What are some of the reforms, and is it too late for us calling for this? Because we keep calling for it, and it seems that nothing happens. Mr. Darlington, over to you. A lot of questions, but over to you.
Yeah, I'm confused at this point. I really do not know where to start from.
Start from the middle, anyway.
You've dropped a lot of missiles from the air, you know, but how do I take it now? Well, let's start from Irabor.
Yeah.
Irabor was a CDS at a point in time. He had the privilege to make all the contributions that were needed to actually make him a part of history, quelling insecurity in Nigeria. He became CDS, insecurity was there. He left, insecurity is still there. He's writing a book now limited to Boko Haram, one of my challenges. Discussing Boko Haram majorly. If you want to talk about core terrorist groups, we have more than one in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Even while he was there, we had more than one. So why the focus on Boko Haram? That is a story for another day. Yeah. But whether we have achieved anything, yes, we have. I don't know at the time how many of you will recall when all of these criminal activities started. It spread on to Abuja in the era of Jonathan. Aso Rock became a threat. People were running away from Abuja, the seat of power. And so if terrorism could have existed there, it meant that there was no other part of the country that was safe. Because you have all the military formations in Abuja, headquarters. You have all the intelligence formations in Abuja, headquarters. And so if they could penetrate Abuja at that point in time, that almost overwhelmed the then President Jonathan, that pushed him, that forced him to say that his government had been infiltrated by terrorists. Then, fast forward to this day, and tell me if there is a difference. At a point in time in this country, we were waking up with reports and stories of how many people had been killed, either overnight or the previous day, how many villages had been sacked. Sorry, please. Sometimes when I discuss these matters, I get a bit emotional.
Yeah, it's allowed.
Now, whether your position is right, well, it's your opinion.
Yeah.
You do not believe that negotiating with these, in parentheses, criminals is ideal.
Yeah.
The same position Nasir El-Rufai had that almost crumbled Kaduna State. At a point in time when he insisted on that, Kaduna became the seat of bandits.
Yeah.
Even NDA was invaded. It got so bad under Nasir El-Rufai's tenure. But the military showed their strength. They went after them and removed their own that was taken, aside from the one that was killed in the course of all of that. That is to say, whether today and then there's a difference. I'm trying to answer all of your questions. Yeah. But whether I'm able to satisfy them is another kettle of fish.
No, please go ahead.
Now, back to Irabo. Irabo has said what we need today, political will and emergency. Yes, some parts of the country, we have had state of emergency at a point in time, declared on some local government under a certain administration when they had this problem of insecurity.
Yeah.
Yes, I also consent to that. But there's something strategic that he said. I was trying to look for that. I wanted to read it, to quote him, where he talked about tactical strategy, political will. They must form a tripartite, they must stand on a tripartite
tripartite arrangements.
Yeah.
Yes, to be able to succeed. I also agree with him there. But today, the country is relatively has achieved. I'm not supporting the administration because sometimes when I speak this way, people say because you're on TVC.
No.
These are empirical facts that people can relate with.
Right.
Yeah.
These are empirical facts. I'd like you to challenge me for any of those things I have said.
Yeah.
Because I've traveled northwest at the peak of terrorism. Even when at a point in time, some of my colleagues got to Abuja who were supposed to serve in Zamfara.
Yeah.
They didn't continue. They withdrew. I was in Katsina. I was drafted now to go cover Zamfara.
Yeah.
Myself and a lecturer in the University of Ibadan. He didn't permit me to call his name. So I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
The basic challenge we have, sorry, before that, one of the basic challenges we have is that, one, I was speaking on another television station, and I said, the National Security Advisor, has it been really up and doing? Has it done enough? That is the center of security planning. If Mr. President talked about the clearinghouse, where the DSS will submit their investigation, what they have discovered. And then another agency that is supposed to act takes it up from there.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've seen situations where intel were submitted in this same country where we are trying to fight insecurity, and those intels were not acted upon to make them proactive until they now happen. Then we become reactionary.
Okay.
Wow.
They say that when things like this persist in a country, it has a political undertone.
There's a governor or president that once said it.
Yeah, it has a
If it
political.
lasted for more than 48 hours. Abacha,
They
I guess.
attributed it to Abacha,
Yeah.
but you know, there were also counter-argument that Abacha never said that. But then it appears to be,
No, but
very
what
correct.
is important is that there's the saying.
No, the saying
the
is
issue
actually
is
there.
that is the saying right or wrong, you know? Now, if we are going to take that saying into consideration, will declaring a state of emergency work? Since we, for now, let's just believe that it is politically motivated. Will it work? Will the general, and why are the generals calling for concerted efforts now, shortly after what Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso had just done, talking about putting the whole blame on very big Nigerian politicians? You know, how do you react to that?
That's right.
It worked when we had 3 local governments placed under that situation. If you recall, 3 local governments at the time were placed under state of emergency because of insecurity. And we were able to reclaim those local governments back. But one important thing you did say is talking about the political will. It's beyond political will. One of the challenges we have in Nigeria is tribe.
Oh, yeah.
Another challenge we have is religion. That has not helped some of these things work. Mr. President is from the Southwest. One of the reasons I supported the late Buhari, I repeat here also, was the fact that he was a soldier, a general. Up until death, he was a general. And when he was to become president, the first thing that greeted me as somebody who has a little knowledge concerning security was the fact that all of that, he was going to bring all of his experience to bear. And then use that, apply that to bringing to an end insecurity. I had that premonition, but I was wrong. Well, I might not have been wrong completely, because any expert will look at it from that point of view and talk to you that this is a professional.
He had been to the war front.
Yeah.
And then he made a statement on the first day he assumed office. I remember that, Eagle Square. And I was listening, because anytime any president of this country makes a speech, I want to see what they will say about security and what to do. And he said something. He asked that the military should relocate to Borno, the headquarters. That they cannot be sitting in Abuja while Borno, a part of the country, was burning. The same thing we have had. When Benue State was burning, a certain president asked the IG of police to go to Benue State and he refused. The same thing we have had other times when some other presidents have also made such pronouncements, asking some military heads to go to certain places. So I wouldn't have been wrong also, after all. But the challenge is this. Mr. President today is from Southwest. If he now takes a decisive action and say, level all of, I'm just assuming, some persons will say, oh, you are killing their brothers. If he was a northerner and he says, okay, let's go to this other part. You see, non-kinetic approach, it's one of the basic and fundamental means or methodology of bringing a war to an end. All wars that have started, that have come to an end, ended not because they were conquered, but because the non-kinetic approach. They sat on a round table and judged.
That's right.
We have had a part of, sorry sir, we have had a part of it in Katsina that worked. But the challenge is that the politicians often don't keep to their own side of the bargain. Yaradua achieved quelling what was happening in the Niger Delta because he kept to his own side of the bargain.
Mr. Umoru, we do not have much time. I can see that
we've always not had much time.
Absolutely.
But I hope this much time is not hearing you.
Because of your insight, I mean, your contribution is always very, very insightful and need a whole lot of time to, expatiate. But the thing there is, now you talked about political will, which General Loki Rabo, emphasized. But he also said one thing. He said Nigeria has not decided, or probably they've not recognized that we are in a state of war. So much so that we need to have declared a state of emergency against war. So we need to recognize first that we are at war, not that some people are bringing war to us. And is it to say what we are looking at, based on what he asked, the Sahelian countries are saying that they are going to release certain names, and some of them Nigerian politicians who are sponsoring terrorism. UAE had done the same. We do not hear anything about it. So should we begin to declare this war, not just on these terrorists that we see wearing turbans, wearing long robes, even some of them that are wearing babariga, wearing suits, that they are the sponsors of the terrorism, otherwise they are the main terrorists of this nation?
You see, when you were talking, I was running ahead of you, and I met some things on the way, and so I started smiling. It's easy for the Sahel countries, particularly those of them. Nigeria is also a Sahel country.
A part of it.
Part of it, yes.
A part of it, yes. It is easy for those of them who are military, who operate military juntas, to say whatever they want to say. Have you considered the diplomatic role, the diplomatic implication of what all of this has to do? Do they have, as part of the bilateral agreement with Nigeria?
Is it about international law now, diplomatic relations, as against what is fact? Because are we supposed to, apply diplomacy to everything, even when we see that Israel is not even following any diplomatic stance?
You know why I like you. You know why I like you. You like speaking to reality.
Yeah.
But it's fine. But again, do not forget that because certain things do not really are allowed to take place in terms of law, you are talking about legality. When it comes, so why don't you just jump into the other country and begin to say what you want and do what you want there? Some of these things are regulated. And I'm glad that in the course of asking that question, you did help me by saying that UAE had said that, but up until now, you've not gotten that.
Yeah.
What we got from UAE at the time was only those who were prosecuted, the names of those who were prosecuted, and then the link to Nigeria, the funds that were transferred to Nigeria to sponsor terrorism. But what happened to those people in Nigeria? We were told, even your country,
our country,
governors, presidents, under different administrations, what we kept hearing is that we're going to release names of those who are sponsors.
Name and shame.
But we never saw.
Have you also considered whether there are some international bodies linked to all of this?
That's right.
We've seen situations where the army or where the military got to Sambisa and arrested some foreigners. No Nigerians who were working with these people. These people are fabricating their weapons.
That's right. Who told them?
And then we're teaching them.
Wow.
And then we have had situations where this country has arrested. Sorry, let me break this down. We have had situations where, because you see, when you say these things, my head begins to spin.
Mr. Umoru, there's this quick question that I want to just quickly touch base on. Because we mentioned Zamfara. I don't know if you remember when the Zamfara governor said he knows where the criminals are, but there's nothing he can do because he has to take orders from Abuja and all of that. He made that statement that he knows where they are. I want to get to the points that we have.
A state governor.
Yeah, he said it.
The number one person
he said it. I can read it for
state.
you. He said it.
He's not disputing that fact.
Yes, okay. Yes, so that's what he said, which is very scary because he said he knows where they are, but there's nothing he can do because he has not gotten, orders. But I want to come to the fact that we have a lot of people in diaspora. They are still scared. You said something as well. It has gotten better. We cannot lie that, under the federal, this government.
But it has to stop.
That's where I'm coming to. It has to stop. When do we get...
You say you want to come.
When do we get to the Nigeria that we know that the insecurity is finally gone?
When?
Yeah, when?
When?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
No, but as a security expert, you are the best person I can ask. When do we finally get to that Nigeria that we know where the criminals are, we attack them, and then we get them, we put them where they're supposed to be?
Kai, can you want me to answer this question in how many hours?
I want you to answer this question. Criminals cannot be working freely.
Okay, I'll give you this. One of the reasons why sometimes the military might not be able to invade directly these terrorists where they are is that they use some persons as human shields. And that has become a handicap. That's why sometimes when you see they kidnap children, it's not as if intelligence whether the artificial intelligence or the human intelligence will not be able to detect. The first thing they do is to put intelligence to place. Right. And then they are able to say they are here. This is the location. And then they look at the collateral damage that it could cause when you hit that place. You bought Ticanos. Yeah. You cannot use them for certain reasons. Because sometimes these persons live with you. They live amongst you.
Even the lay law.
Sometimes they live very close to you. We saw situations in Plateau State where they took over a school and people live around there. At such times, what they need in order for the same international organizations not to begin to condemn our soldiers, to say they are killing innocent people. Yeah. They want to do everything they could to make sure that safety is guaranteed to the innocent. Is that not a challenge?
Yes, right.
Now, it is not impossible to know their location. They know the locations. But it is not also impossible to level everybody there. But you'll be killing so many innocent people. Yeah. So they find situations where they lure them out or push them to one side or take them on, but be conscious of what equipment to be deployed.
But Mr. Umoru, quickly, what is the way forward?
You say quickly again.
No, our time. But what can be done? What are
I how many hours do you want me to use?
What are the solutions? Okay, just give me some solutions.
I'm giving you some solutions, but again, I have said I won't be giving solutions on television.
Why?
Because the same people you want these solutions to be used against are also watching and listening.
Yes.
I've said that I've done this separately. I've given solution on TVC when some children were kidnapped, and exactly that was used to rescue those children. Beautiful. Yeah. But sometimes when you give these same solutions, these same persons are listening.
So are you not supposed to take the solutions to where they are supposed to listen to them?
They should come to me.
Won't you go to them for the betterment of Nigeria? We are all Nigerians.
I go knock on somebody's door that is not looking for me.
But they are looking for you with what is happening in Nigeria with the insecurity. They are looking for you.
You are not talking as if you know these politicians.
There are protocols to everything.
I don't think she understands. But you see, the truth is,
that's right.
Yeah.
Generals who have spoken, they have spoken well.
Yeah.
And finally, do not forget that the military, when the day you are enlisted, you are also told that even when you go on retirement, the day your expertise is needed, you are also recalled. But have we done that in Nigeria? We have had people who have served as CDS. We have had people who have served as Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, and all of that.
Exactly.
Have they been brought together to say,
we definitely need to have you for hours. Thank you so much, Mr. Umoru. Thank you so much. We need to have him for more hours. Well, still ahead on TVC Breakfast, fears of flooding are growing as Kanji, Jeba, and Zungeru dams prepare to release excess water during the rising levels. We will examine this potential impact on riverine communities when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.